can the persistence of one woman in a forgotten corner of a village truly change the destiny of an entire generation? This is not just a question, it is a truth. And tonight, I want to take you into a story. Not from textbooks, not from headlines, but from the soil of India itself. A story that reminds us that sometimes revolutions don't begin in parliaments or boardrooms, but in small huts with leaking roofs, with chalk dust in the air, and the unshaken hope of a teacher who refused to give up. In a remote Indian village, far from the noise of cities and the glamour of opportunity, there lived a woman known simply as Madam. She wasn't rich. She wasn't famous. Her house was a humble hut, made of mud walls and a thatched roof that swayed every time the wind grew wild. But inside this fragile shelter, something extraordinary was born. A classroom. No desks, no blackboards, no fancy uniforms, just children. Barefoot, carrying slates instead of books, eyes wide with hunger. Not just hunger for food, but hunger for knowledge. And Madam, with her gentle voice, her cracked hands, her worn-out, sorry, began to teach. It wasn't easy. When the monsoon came, rainwater dripped through the roof onto their notebooks. When the sun scorched, the hut became unbearably hot. Sometimes, the children had to bring broken pieces of stone to write on the ground. Villagers often mocked her. Why waste your time? These children will grow up to be farmers and laborers anyway. What difference will a few letters on a page make? But Madam would simply smile. She knew something the others didn't. She believed that education is not just about changing jobs. It is about changing possibilities. She taught. She taught alphabets by drawing them in the dust. She taught arithmetic by counting stones. She taught science by pointing to the stars in the night sky. The children laughed, questioned, stumbled, and learned. Years passed. Something began to happen. One boy, who once herded goats, grew curious about numbers and became an engineer. A little girl, who once stitched torn clothes with her mother, grew fascinated with biology and became a doctor. Another boy, who once carried water from the well every morning, learned the power of words and became a leader in his community. From that tiny classroom, future doctors, engineers, and leaders emerged. You see, life often tricks us. It makes us believe that greatness only comes from power, money, or resources. But the truth is, greatness often begins with a simple act of persistence. The psychologist Angela Duckworth once said, "Talent counts, but effort counts twice." And Madam embodied that truth. She had no special resources, no government funding, no technology at her disposal. What she had was grit. And grit, when consistent, can shape futures far beyond our imagination. Like a seed planted in dry soil, watered every day by faith, one day cracks the earth and becomes a tree. Her persistence was that daily watering. Her belief was that invisible root. Now, pause and think. How often do we give up too early? We begin something, a dream, a goal, a vision, and when results don't show, we walk away. But what if Madame had walked away? What if she had believed the villagers when they said, "Nothing will change"? There would be no doctors from her hut, no engineers, no leaders, just silence, where laughter and learning once echoed. Persistence doesn't just change your life. It creates ripples, ripples that travel across generations. One teacher's refusal to give up became the reason hundreds of families escaped the chains of poverty. Educationists often say, when you educate a child, you educate a family. When you educate a girl, you educate a generation. But here, it was even deeper. When you empower a teacher with resilience, you empower history itself. The sociologists call this intergenerational impact. One person's effort becomes a bridge for many others to cross. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's persistence, multiplied over time. So, my friends, the next time life feels too heavy, remember Madame. Remember her cracked hands writing on the mud floor. Remember the children's laughter as rain dripped through the roof. Remember the power of one person's decision not to quit. Because sometimes the destiny of an entire generation waits for just one person to keep going when everyone else says, "Give up." The persistence of one person can change the destiny of many. And today, maybe that person is you. Maybe your dream, your effort, your refusal to quit will be the reason someone else gets to live a better life. So, don't give up. Stay with the fight. Water the seed, even when the soil looks dry. Because one day, that seed will turn into a forest, and you'll know it was worth it. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs hope today. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories of grit, hope, and transformation, subscribe, join this journey, and let's keep lighting the flame of awareness together. Because persistence is not just about you. It is about everyone who comes after you.